Have you ever found yourself in a very sticky situation? Maybe you got lost in a store, or maybe you had to try and find a lost pet, or maybe you had to help a friend who was being bullied. I wonder what you did to solve your problem. Hello everyone, I'm Kathleen Pally. Welcome to Journey with Story. Today's story is an old Russian tale about a little girl who finds herself in a very sticky situation when a bear keeps her captive in his hut and she has to find a way to escape. Let's see how she solves this problem. Before we begin, a big thanks to all of you who have been rating, reviewing and sharing our podcast with others. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't already done so, please do take a moment today to rate and review our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks ever so much. Now, let's take a journey with Masha and the bear. Once upon a time, there lived an old man and a woman who had a granddaughter named Masha. One day, some friends of Masha's decided to go to the forest to gather mushrooms and berries, and they came to Masha's house to ask her to go along with them. "Please, Granny and Grandpa," said Masha, "do let me go to the forest." "You may go, but see that you keep close to the others and do not lose sight of them, or you might get lost," the two old people warned. Masha and her friends came to the forest and began to hunt for the mushrooms and the berries. From bush to bush, from tree to tree went Masha. Before she knew it, she had strayed away from her friends. When at last she saw that she was all alone, she began to shout out and call to them. But her friends did not hear her and made no answer. Masha went here and there. She walked all over the forest until there before her she saw a little hut. Masha knocked on the door, but there was no answer. So she gave the door a push, and the door opened. Masha went into the hut and sat down on a bench by the window. "I wonder who lives here," she thought. Now, it turned out that a great big bear lived in that hut, and just then he was out walking in the forest. But when evening fell, the bear came home. And when he saw Masha, he was very pleased. "Aha!" said he. "Now I'll never let you go. You will live here in my house, as meek as a mouse, and you will cook my dinner and my breakfast too, and be my servant, faithful and true." Masha grieved and sorrowed for a long time, but it could not be helped. And so she stayed with the bear and kept house for him. Every day the bear would go into the forest for the day, and before leaving he would tell Masha to stay in the hut and wait for him. "You must never go out without me," he told her, "for if you do, I will catch you and eat you up." So Masha stayed in the hut, thinking of how she could get away from the bear. All around was the forest, and there was no one to ask which way to go. She thought, and she thought, and she thought, until finally she had a plan. That day, when the bear came back from the forest, Masha said to him, "Bear, bear, do let me to my village for a day. I want to take something good to eat for my grandma and grandpa,
"No, that won't do at all," said the bear. "You will get lost in the forest. But I tell you what I will do. If you give me what it is you want to give your grandma and grandpa, then I will take it myself."
Now that was all that Masha wanted to hear. She baked some pies, put them on a plate, and getting out a very large basket, said to the bear, "I'll put the pies in the basket, and you can take them to my grandma and grandpa. But mind you are not to open the basket on the way, and you are not to eat any of the pies. I am going to climb to the top of the big oak tree and watch that you do not open the basket."
"Very well," said the bear. "Give me the basket."
The bear went out on the porch to make sure that it was not raining. When he did, Masha crawled into the basket and covered herself with the pies. The bear came in, and there was the basket all ready to go. So he strapped the basket onto his back and started off. Trump, trump, trump went the bear amid the spruce trees. Clumpety clump, clump he went amid the birch trees. Up hill and down dale went his long winding trail, and on and on and on he walked. At last he got tired, and he sat down to rest.
"If I don't rest my bones, I think I will die. So I will sit on a stump and I'll eat a pie,"
said the bear. But Masha called out from the basket,
I see you. Don't sit on the stump, and don't eat my pie, but take it to Grandma and Grandpa, say I."
"Dear me, what sharp eyes Masha has," said the bear. "She sees everything."
He picked up the basket and went on. After a little while he stopped again and said,
"If I don't rest my bones, I think I will die, so I will sit on a stump and eat a pie."
But Masha called out again from the basket,
I see you. Don't sit on the stump, and don't eat my pie, but take it to Grandma and Grandpa, say I."
"What a clever little girl Masha is," said the bear. "She is sitting high up in a tree, and she is far away, but she sees all I do, and she hears all I say."
He got to his feet and walked on and on and on, even faster than before. He came to the village, and finding the house where Masha's grandfather and grandmother lived, he began to bang away on the gate with all his might.
"Knock, knock. Open the gate," he cried. "I have brought something for you from Masha," he cried.
But the village dogs scented the bear, and they rushed out at him from every yard, yelping and barking. The bear was so frightened, he set down the basket by the gate, and away he ran as fast as he could without looking back. The old man and the old woman came up to the gate, and they saw the basket. "What is in the basket?" the old woman asked. The old man lifted the top and looked, and he could not believe his eyes, for there in the basket sat Masha, alive and well. The old man and the old woman were overjoyed. They kissed and they hugged and they embraced Masha, and they said she was as clever can be, as indeed all of you will surely agree. Well, Masha was a very clever girl, wasn't she? I wonder, what do you think this story's souvenir was? You know, the little nugget of truth about what it means to be human and live in this world. Remember, you can send us your drawings if you go to www.journeywithstory.com, click on the Contact Us button, fill in the form, and attach your drawing there so we can share it with others and maybe even give you a shout out. Cheerio then. Join me next time for Journey with Story. Music and post-production was by Colette Jonas.